We are back.
We are back.
And we're live.
One. You do it, Carcass. One, two of the Metal Roundtable. I am Metal Rob, and with me, as always, is the great
Carcass John
and Scott.
Mad Waters.
Mad Raven.
Mad.
Stark Raven Mad.
Stark Raven Mad.
I still like sparkling the best, but whatever. So, I want to say up front, you're going to notice things are a little bit different today. That's because I am producing the show for the first time. Monkey Butt's out of pocket today, and so I'm having to jump on and do things kind of by the seat of my pants. So anything that you see pop up or change during the show, don't punch out on me. We will get through this, and I will be better for having learned what the hell I'm doing. So
it's all about the content.
That's
all
right.
About the content.
Yeah,
the production value has always sucked to a certain extent.
We do have a logo. I figured that out. But if you guys can tell me if we're live on Facebook and YouTube, that sure would be helpful.
Today's topic is: did Biden really poop his pants in Rome? Right?
I think we're going to steer clear of any political vibe unless you get Ted Nugent on.
No, that's not political. Pooping your pants is universal. That's just.
I think it's a metaphor.
I put up a comment.
Yay! I think it's a metaphor for his administration, but I digress.
I kind of heard though that he flew in on Air Force One and then flew out on Air Force Two.
Scott's on fire.
All right, we're verging on politics. I won't allow it.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to stop. Just know the guy did his duty.
Look, you don't give a crap about the president anymore anyway, so just stop talking about it.
Well, he was in front of the Pope, so, it really was a holy shit moment.
Really?
Lord.
All right.
Oh,
yeah. When he's not opening boxes of killer metal, he is on stage with a microphone in his hand doing stand-up.
This opening really stinks.
Yeah, it does really.
Oh, wait. Check it out. Look, watch my production skills.
What?
Okay.
And the great Keith Tabler is here.
Oh, he's from the record Disco's Infernos or whatever sales on Facebook. I'm not a part of Facebook.
CD Asylum, sir.
CD, that's right.
It. All right. You got any shout-outs, boys?
I'm going to shout out to you, man. You figured this stuff out on the fly?
In 13 minutes.
In 13 minutes? No pressure?
We signed up, got an account, and got running.
Sorry,
Alex
Keith.
is right, Keith.
I apologize. Rob will keep me straight on that. I'm off of Facebook, so the name recognition isn't in my brain. So shout out to the CD and Record Asylum. To Rob for just knocking it out of the park so far.
We killed it, man. So far, so good. All right. I want to shout out, if it's all right, I'll kick this off and then we'll get to our topic today, which is going to be live albums. We've covered this before a little bit, but it's always good to revisit something because things update. And also, we have not even new anymore, but we have a third team member now. So, but my shout out is this. So my buddy was out of town, and a buddy from work, and his kid turned 16, his youngest son. And his youngest son, for his 16th birthday, wanted to go see Slipknot. Well, I'm not a Slipknot fan, never have been. But I got kind of voluntold that he would buy some great tickets and asked me, could I take his kid? So I did. The kid had the time of his life. It was fantastic. And I'm going to tell you, shout out to those guys, man. Corey Taylor is a fantastic frontman. They killed it live. I did not know one single song. Kill Switch Engage was awesome. But hey, respect to Slipknot. Not my flavor, but they were extremely entertaining. I did try to jam on some songs today. Still not my bag. I do really like the song Snuff, which they did not play live. But anyway, shout out to them. Extremely entertaining, top-notch production. and I had a good time. So yeah, I've now seen 4 more bands that I'd never seen before. So shout out to Slipknot. I'm sure they're listening.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
What about you, Scooter Waters?
Well, I will shout out to Steve Bodine, who is Harmless Rebel, who is one of our viewers. He often shows up in the little chat comments over there, who allowed me to stay at his house in Atlanta, Georgia. I went to go see Raven, and wearing the concert shirt. Raven were fantastic. I mean, those guys just are balls of energy. They played for at least an hour and a half, 90 minutes or not more. A lot of stuff from the first 3 albums, a couple songs from the new albums, only one from the Atlantic years, but man, they put on a fantastic show. And the crowd in this club consisted of about 50 people, which I know kind of blows for the band because they always want a packed house. But for me, it was great because you could move around, you could be right there in front of the stage. It was awesome. But also, I got recognized by somebody that when I walked in the door someone walked up to me and said, "Hey, are you Scott Waters?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, I watch your guys' YouTube channel all the time." Well, I ended up being the singer in the opening band, and the band's name is Heretica. And they didn't have anything for sale at their table. I watched them play, but as I was leaving that night, he ran up to me and threw this demo at me and said, "Hey, check it out and add this to your collection." So I thought I'd give him a little bit of a shout out. Heretica. The singer guitar player in the band was wearing a Cradle of Filth shirt, but their sound was they did a couple covers, and the covers were they did a Kiss cover and a Cinderella cover. So that kind of gives you the idea of the sound they were going after. Definitely a more 80s hair hard rock sound, which I mean, they were good at what they were doing. They were obviously a new band and they're just getting started, but I enjoyed them. So Heretica, Raven, great show. John Gallagher, really cool cat, came out, got to meet him after the show. And Mark Gallagher, both of them came out after the show and hung out and talked to people and shook hands and took pictures and signed autographs. So I love when bands do that.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, before we move on into the topic, and you guys are, again, 2 weeks in a row, 2 episodes in a row, you guys are way more prepared for this than I am. I'll have a few things to chime in on. Can we verify that we are live on Facebook and YouTube right now? Have y'all been able to verify that? Because I am totally flying.
Well, it looks like we've got some like Rod Hawkins. Shout out to the Summit. And and Keith Tabler. Hello.
I'm on my cell phone, and my cell phone says Metal Roundtable's live.
Okay, good.
And Scotty Waters.
I want to explain something about Rod Hawkins. I met Rod Hawkins when our kids were about to be born, and we went to Lamaze class together. And he is the singer of the. Hang on. It's a Chicago tribute band. I think it's called the Chicago Tribute Authority. Anyway, they are fantastic. But I've known Rod for, 23 years now. And the Summit, that's a joke for 2 of us, me and Rod. So.
Okay, I thought he was talking about the old Houston venue that's now Lakewood Church.
Oh no.
Joel Osteen bought the venue and turned it into a giant.
And not where the Rockets played either.
Yeah, well, that's the place.
He's talking about his old band.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, well, let's kick it off. Let's talk about favorite live albums of all time. I'll throw one out just to get this started. Now, I know you guys decided that we could not do bootlegs, right?
Right, because we're doing
about official live releases. Now, I'm gonna cause a little controversy here because mine is not an official live release, but it was an official radio broadcast, and that is Kick-Axe Captured Live. It was from the Country Club in Reseda, California back in the 80s.
Good
and
club.
I like that live album as much or better than any of their studio albums. That's how well produced it was. I freaking love that record. So I'll kick off with that one, and I'll let you boys go. Start us off, Carcass.
Okay, well, as usual, I could just pull records for the rest of my life and still not have everything. But so what I did was I ranked. Scott said 10 or 15, so I opted for 15. So I have my top 15 records, but I have some honorable mentions. So I'll just get those out of the way. Scorpions, Tokyo Tapes.
Yeah.
That's UFO. I mean, this is a preeminent live record. Grand Funk. They had more than one live, but Caught in the Act came after the one that I bought first. And then Iron Maiden, Made in Japan. And then, I don't know, this may be controversial, but Black Sabbath live at California Jam, and it's got an OBI. And I don't know if it's a real pressing or not, but I love that set because that's when I first saw Black Sabbath live, because it was on TV. It was on in concert Friday night, and
that
it was
historic
amazing.
Rainbow show was at the same concert.
That was the Rainbow, and anyway, so that's what I did. So you want number 15?
Do it. Tell us why.
Number 15. Blood Incantation, Live Vitrification. And part of the reason why I like it is because it's such a cool record. I mean, it's clear and it's etched and it's got this pretty cool silk screening on it. So I actually wore the shirt that came with it. But anyway, this is a relatively new band from Denver. And man, they have really lit my music fireplace on fire, because I really like their technical ability, their riffing. They have a weird ambient sweeping thing, and they pull it off live. And this thing is like a 22-minute song, and that's their live set. So number 15, Blood Incantation, Live Vitrification. What say you, Scott?
I didn't really necessarily put them in order, but the one I'm going to show first is Twisted Sister. This is 1982, live at the what's that place called in the UK? Live at the Marquee.
Oh,
live at the Marquee. Yeah, so this is all early stuff. This is just a wild set. The in-between stage banter is as entertaining as the music itself. The band's on fire. They're still young. They're still hungry. They're fast. They're furious. It's just a great thing. And this is an official release. This is on Rhino Records. Originally, this thing was released as B-sides on a bunch of different 12-inch singles. So you could get like 3 of the songs on one 12-inch, another 3 on another 12 inches, and then they had a couple of 7-inch singles that they were on the back end of 2. But it was a 2-night show, and they pulled songs from all those. But this here is just one full night, and then it's on vinyl too. But this has been one of my favorites since literally since the 80s. I like this as much as and more so than most of their studio stuff. It's just a true representation of what this band never could quite capture in the studio, especially in those early years. It's got, it's heavy and campy at the same time. So there's no we're not going to take it and that kind of stuff on there. It's all the early stuff when they were just full on Fast and Furious and one of the honorary new wave of British heavy metal bands at the time. There you go.
Wow, Metal Overkill is overkilling it. That's a good list. Some of those actually made my list. Are you still producing, or are you going to throw something out there, Rob?
I'm producing.
Metal Overkill is live at the Marquee. The Twisted Sister one I just showed her is a different live at the Marquee.
I'll throw a couple out, but yeah, you guys go ahead. I'll jump in whenever you hit the ones that I've.
Well, here's my number 14.
That's a great album.
And it's only half live, so I didn't know whether to include it or not. But the live set on the B side is so good that I had to include it. It's one of my favorite, and it's stuff that's not on any really studio album, although they do like it's just like a big jam. So ZZ Top and Fandango, side A, the live side, and this pretty much captures the energy of a ZZ Top live show, and you know how much we like ZZ Top here in the great state of Texas. What you got, Scott? or do you want me to do another one?
Yeah, do another one. Why not?
Okay. This is a band relatively new. It's called Radio Moscow, live in California. It's a double album. These guys have an extensive catalog already. It's a 3-piece power trio. Sounds very 70s, very heavy. And I love this record. The production is stellar. It's just freaking amazing. I love once again, I love the riffing. I love the strong structure. The solos are great, and this thing is a near perfect live record. So Radio Moscow is my number 13, lucky 13. And you want me to go again?
Yeah, one more. Why not?
Okay. Another new band, and I don't have it on vinyl, but I do have the Blu-ray. This is Earthless, and live in the Mojave Desert. This is a really cool concept. They do 3 extended songs, and they do one in the daylight, one at dusk, and one at night with lasers and all sorts of things popping out. And this is another power trio, a more modern power trio, but this thing is fantastic. I don't know if you've checked out Earthless before. I've sort of been into the kind of the high desert, California high desert stuff, and this is really, really phenomenal. So check out Earthless, especially this live at Mojave. I think that's their albums are basically live studio recordings, but this is a live recording out in the desert, and it's just as good. And there's some dialogue in between and some history of the band, but and this is pretty cheap. It cost about the same as a record would, so or actually less, about the same as what a CD would cost. So Earthless, live in the Mojave Desert, number 12.
Right on. I'm sitting here watching yours, thinking of ones that because I basically what I did was I grabbed the first 15 I thought of, but I was just thinking, man, I forgot Allman Brothers live at the Fillmore. That's a great one. Anyhow, the next I'll show 2 right away. This is both of them from Canada. Both of them are considered rock gods or guitar gods, but this is Frank Marino. All these CDs I'm showing, I have on vinyl and CD. That's how much I like them. I have them on both formats, if not multiple formats. Some of them I even have on cassette and 8-track. But yeah, this is Frank Marino. Mahogany Rush, real live. This is just a jam from beginning to end. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this one. This is also, whenever I take a plane trip, I tend to listen to this album. I don't know why, but when I get on a plane, it's just an album I love to kick back to and close my eyes and just listen to with the headphones on. So Gary Moore, Mahogany Rush, real live, and then also from Canada, and this is another classic. This is Pat Travers, Go For What You Know. Pat Travers band. This is early, his early stuff, the 70s material. So there you go, Steve with the Harmless Rebel, and as with Frank Marino. So I think.
Can I ask you something about that Frank Marino?
Sure.
Is that like part of that? Is that an excerpt from that box set? He just released a box set. It's like 3 Blu-rays and it's like a bunch of stuff that I mean Frank was never one to get recorded live, but these things are phenomenal. And I've seen the vinyl. I didn't know they released it on CD, but I wonder if that was like basically the soundtrack for the DVDs or the.
I don't know. I've had this one since I've had this thing for at least 20 years, if not longer.
Okay, then it's not the same.
Yeah, this I can't see. It's too dark in here to see, but I think this thing was released around 2001, 2002, somewhere in that area. And then this, of course, is, like I said, the 70s. And I think the thing I like about a lot of the 70s bands, that live albums, as opposed to like thrash bands that I'm into, and where I prefer the studio albums, is it brought something extra in. Whereas like a thrash band like Overkill or Testament or Anthrax or even Metallica, their live albums aren't that much different than their studio albums because the studio albums are so aggressive already. But these ones, it added something, an extra energy that they couldn't quite capture in the studio in the 70s when everything was, done on tape. So I mean, even bands like, Thin Lizzy and Judas Priest and all those bands, even Black Sabbath, they just captured an energy that live that they couldn't be captured in the studio. Anyhow. Frank Marino, Pat Travers, that's 2 for me. I'll do one more since you did 3 as well. And might as well do one that I couldn't decide, so I grabbed both. To me, these are both great, but Kiss Alive 2. I think I saw somebody listed on the list over there. It might have been Keith Tabler saying he likes Kiss Alive 2 better than Kiss Alive. I got into Kiss. There it is. I got into Kiss around Destroyer, so Kiss Alive 2 was merely my first live album from them, and then I backtracked and got Kiss Alive eventually when I could afford it, because I was literally a kid, back then. But I love both these albums. People could say, they re-recorded. Who cares? It still captures something. It still has a great sound. It gave it captured an energy that they couldn't quite capture in the studio. I love those early Kiss studio albums, but there's something to be said for these live albums. They just bring something that those studio albums didn't have. Not to mention, all the cool photos and the extras, the booklets that came with it, and the tattoos and all that cool crap. I mean, when you're, 12 years old, 13 years old, those are the coolest things in the world. So, anybody else pick Kiss?
Well, I agree with Keith.
Uh-oh.
You like Kiss Alive too?
Yeah, the first one. This was one of the ones. Destroyer is what turned me on to him, and I'm pretty sure I borrowed 8 tracks of Destroyer, Love Gun, and Alive 2 all at the same time. So this one to me was the definitive live Kiss album, because it doesn't get any better than that. When you open up that vinyl gatefold and you're looking at this, and I used to open this up and set it up, and I would put my Star Wars people in front of it and pretend like they were having a Kiss show. Yeah, that happened.
Well, that's funny you should say that, because one of my other picks was Rush, All the World's a Stage. And when I went, and that was a triple gatefold or a double gatefold, and when you opened it up, there was all those live pictures, and it felt like as you were watching them play on stage, that all those pictures were coming alive in my head. Anyway, for various sundry reasons, but we won't go into that. But anyway, what else you got, Rob?
Rod threw a good one out, Worldwide Live.
Yeah.
He and I used to reenact. Do you see the microphones in the air? Do you see them?
There they are.
Yep, he and I wore that one out as well. And one of my favorite Scorpions albums, period.
Yeah.
Studio, live, probably in my top 3 Scorpions records.
See, for me, it's always going to.
Sure. I love.
For me, it's always going to be Tokyo Tapes, because Uli Roth is unbeatable. The only thing I didn't like about the Tokyo Tapes is that little goofy rock and roll thing. You like a rock and roll, and they play a Hound Dog and Long Tall Sally, and But other than that, this album is just pure brilliance. I mean, Uli Roth is he is just one of the best guitar players in the world, in my opinion. So
and Michael Schenker's no slouch. And yes, Robin Taylor. I mentioned Tokyo Tapes earlier in the episode.
Yeah, I have a Scorpions bootleg from that same '78 era with Uli Roth on there that I like even better than Tokyo Tapes. So,
did you get that as a special import record at Born Late Records?
Yes, I did.
We'll talk about bootlegs later. I mean, special pressings. I'm sorry.
Fan club pressings.
That really will be a follow-up episode, by the way. We really are going to do that. So, Integrity 101, your wish is our command. We've already been talking about it, but
great minds think alike. But we're going to stick to the actual releases.
Yes.
How about this one? Anyone? Frank Marino.
Yep.
Rush Live. Man.
Frank Marino was just a bomb. The bomb on stage. I mean, he was live was where he shined.
Well, and speaking of the bomb, I mean he developed that dive bomb thing on, and we always were waiting for that. We would always play air guitar with those dive bombs with Marino. That was one of our cool things. It's a great set too. Here's kind of a creeper. This thing is fantastic. You don't have to be a Dream Theater fan to love this record. Live at the Marquee. It's a jamming set. There's a song on there that is Bombay Vindaloo that's not on any album, and this thing absolutely rules. It is progressive. It is heavy. It is technical. There's nothing to hate about this record. It is all good all the time, and so that's why I rank that Actually, that's in my top 10. That's number 10, I think. Anyway, and then after that, I know this is another weirdo record, but I love this record. I spun this thing 100 times when I was a kid, and I still spin it. Todd Rundgren's Utopia, and it's basically a live thing that parlays into a studio record, and the playing is phenomenal, and it's kind of an eclectic psychedelic hard rock mix of live music, and it's really crazy good. And this is like one of my favorite albums ever, and I still spin it all the time. So should I do another one?
Do it. Hey, let's see what Keith has to say.
Yes, All the World's a Stage. Exactly. Great album, and I didn't pull that one.
Well, I'm getting there, boys. Okay.
That Grand Funk album is awesome.
Now, the one great thing about the Japanese pressing is the American pressing came with one poster. Japanese pressing came with two posters, and this is an intact version. I guess one advantage of having a father that was in the Air Force is they get to shop on air bases, and they sometimes had import records, or the ones that were stamped specifically for the military to buy tax-free or duty-free, like the one I sent you, Scott, that Song for America, I think, or that one anyway. But this has two cool posters in it, and this is, man, I spun this thing and pretended I was Don Brewer. I mean, for hours on a time. I put the headphones on, and I would be back there pounding away on my Slingerland set, and this is one of my favorite all-time records. So Grand Funk Live album, it's in my top 10.
Integrity 101 brings up a fair point. What do you guys think about this with regard to Kiss Alive? Because we know that was all re-recorded, except for the drums, pretty much, is my understanding.
I've heard multiple things on that Kiss Alive, and yeah, I mean, I understand. Kiss were, I mean, especially in the 70s, they were all over the stage. It was not just music, it was an act, you know. So yeah, there was missed chords, there was, you know, stuff out of tune, and they didn't exactly have tuning locks on their guitars back then. So frankly, I'd rather have them fix it than release a piece of crap. For example, one of my favorite bands only put out one album was Recon. They put out an album called Behind Enemy Lines. Great band. It's kind of like a early Queensryche EP sound. And they put out a live album that was where the stage sound, they were having so much problem, the singer couldn't hear himself, and you were doing all them high falsetto vocals. Well, you tend to go out of pitch, you tend to crack and all the other stuff because you can't hear yourself. And they recorded that and left it like that. Okay, well, it's a warts and all thing. I understand this, but it's an official release, not a bootleg. I'd rather would have had them go back in and have him fix and re-record some of the vocals, if not all the vocals, to have something that's good to listen to, rather than have a steaming turd that I never play.
So, how do you really feel, Scott?
That's it. You asked.
Okay.
These opinions are not lukewarm.
No, I agree with you. You know what? And every band goes and tweaks their stuff, and if they don't, they just don't care, or they think they can get away with it. And we won't talk about Metallica or the like, but you know what? Every band goes in and fixes something in the recording, even if it's a technically live recording. So I don't have a problem with Kiss. I mean, Kiss Alive. It's like, to me, it's iconic. In fact, I see Terry Sullivan popped in. I actually, when he's my brother-in-law, and he and my sister met years and years and years ago, and they had their first kiss at a church dance. And so for their wedding present, I gave them the first Kiss album I ever bought, which was Kiss Alive. So he has my original pressing, kept it in the family. And anyway, but I don't have a problem with it. I've reenacted that record. Terry and I have been on many Boy Scout campouts reenacting until the batteries wore out in his remember those little TNT 8-track players?
Oh yeah.
Where you push the little thing down like it would explode like dynamite or whatever. Yeah, we would play that silly Kiss Alive until the batteries ran out, or a Scoutmaster took the batteries, one of the two. But
So I
anyway,
want you guys to answer Fraser's question from down in Houston.
What live album would you like to get you don't have in y'all's collection? I don't have the Oyster Tentacles live album yet, and I want that.
Ooh, somebody's on the prowl for you. Don't worry.
Yep, that's what I'm looking for.
But you can get live at Pong Masters Ball or live at Brixton.
It is, yeah, absolutely not, Robin. Not even close.
And then there's on a Motorhead official release that I still can't find on. There's a couple Motorhead releases that are on official releases that are released on vinyl that I don't have. Birthday Party, would love to have that. And then there's the Live in New York, which was part of a series. In trying to think of the name of the series, I'm looking it up as I'm talking here. I'm going to look it up. And you got any you want to say?
You guys are doing great. I'm juggling producer duties. What's up, Donnell?
No.
Hey, here's a mid-show shout out.
Donnell Blair, baby. Pass the ammunition. Got a new album drop.
Record, did they not?
Yes, they did. Everybody needs to check that out.
Yep.
Firing on all cylinders.
On that, Donnell. I appreciate that, brother.
Okay, so it's The World Is Ours. So in the U.S., they released Volume 1 and Volume 2. Well, it's the green copy and the blue copy. Well, there's also a green copy that's live in New York that was only released in Europe, and that's the one I'm after. I've never been able to find it.
Damien Hair Metal is speaking my language.
Slaughter, Stick It Live.
Yes,
you know what,
sir.
Slaughter, say what you. I'm not a hair metal band person, but I know those guys, and I've seen the Vinnie Vincent Invasion, which is basically Slaughter, that's except not quite as good as Slaughter. I thought Slaughter was a lot better, but anyhow, without the drama too. But man, their live show, like you said, Scott, there was a different energy with the live stuff that wasn't present on the studio recording or whatever. And Slaughter is no different. Man, they were punishing live.
I didn't like Slaughter at first because of just that stupid ballad that they were always playing when they first came out.
Yeah.
And I love the Vinnie Vincent Invasion, so I'm not sure why I didn't bother checking out anything else. Was it Fly Like an Angel, whatever it was, which is not a bad song, but it was just such a sappy, paint by numbers ballad. Then I went to go see Ted Nugent and Quiet Riot, and opening the show was Slaughter, and they tore it up. Dana Strum was a beast on stage. They were great. Made me a fan that day. I went back and bought all the albums I had missed out on, and I like Slaughter these days. So
I don't know.
Integrity 101, you're not bothering us, brother.
I'm not trying to anger you. Oh no.
Not at all.
I agree. If you just re-record it, if you re-record a record and then just put a laugh track on it, then is it real comedy? I don't know.
We'll just have Carcass fight Scott next time we're all together. It'll be great.
All right, let's do it.
Cage match at Casa de Carcass.
I fight fair sometimes.
Well, I got a few here. Two of them that might be a surprise for people. One of them definitely won't be, but these are again all 70s releases. Not metal.
Oh wow, yeah.
I can't say I'm a huge fan of his whole catalog, but there's just something very special about this Frampton Comes Alive album. All that, even people know for the Talkbox stuff, but the whole album is really solid. It's just a great live album. How about this is also not metal? I promise I'll get to more metal stuff soon.
Oh, I've got a non-metal one. Oh yeah,
man, that's a fantastic live record.
Yep, Genesis Live. Peter Gabriel is really only 5 songs on this thing, and
yeah,
and it's still 45, 50 minutes long. It's just. And Peter Gabriel was such an entertainer, but the whole band was just fantastic. This is one I probably played. I couldn't even tell you how many times I played it. It's just ridiculous. I even like the albums they did afterwards, like Three Sides Live. I thought was a great album too. So, And then this one's going to be no shock to anybody who knows me at all, including you guys.
Oh, hey, no, we said no bootleg. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I've probably got
There's one of my favorite non-metal live albums.
It's a good album. It's a really good album. This one I like so much. I think I have 4 copies on vinyl and at least 2 or 3 copies on CD, and I got it on 8-track and I got it on cassette. And
yeah, Oh
It's
yeah.
just
Well,
one of
and
those
I've
releases
got,
for me.
yeah, same with Pink Floyd. I had the laser disc. I've got 2 copies of this blinking thing.
I've got 4 now because I do what you do. I find one and
Rescue it.
I rescue it. I put the batteries in it and off to the races.
So the this one here, we were talking about the re-recording. This is warts and all recording right here, but it's also not a live show. It is a culmination of live shows, some of which they recorded specifically for this. A lot of it taken from different radio broadcasts and bootlegs.
Huh. Ooh, that's a good question. Is there a band you love if you love live but don't really listen to their studio albums? I used to sort of feel like that about Ted Nugent, and I know that's blasphemous. Sorry, Scott. And I love the first album, the Ted Nugent, and I love the Amboy Duke stuff. But as he moved through Cat Scratch Fever and Free for All and all those, I loved him live, but the studio albums got, I think, a little bit weaker and weaker as they moved along, in my opinion. But they all had great songs, but overall, nothing compared to the first record. And his live show was out of sight.
It's kind of like Frank Marino. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
And it's the same thing with a lot of the 70s artists. They just couldn't seem to capture that raw heaviness that they had live, that energy. And a lot of it was because they were using producers who didn't know what didn't know how to capture that, didn't know how to do that, which it obviously became more prominent in the 80s. But yeah, in the 70s, it was just something special about those live albums. Double Live Gonzo. Matter of fact, I got it right here. I might as well just show it. I mean,
we are being watched in Spain right now, by the way.
Yeah, we are. That's Renee from Spain. This. If I did a top 5, this would definitely be in my top 5 all-time live albums. I mean, I actually got suspended from school for this album. Took it to school for Music Appreciation Day. So, because the in-between banter, again, like the Twisted Sister one, is as amusing as the music. So, 1978, Ted Nugent, Double Live Gonzo.
Yeah, a couple people have mentioned the Halford live Insurrection. I think it's better than the studio album. Of course, there's a lot of it in sound check and whatever, but
yeah,
I don't care. If you can pull it off live, man, that's a great record.
That thing is, that's freaking awesome. Anyway, are we just still scatter shooting here? Because everyone's been talking. We've heard a lot of chatter about Rush, All the World's a Stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I so I have that as number 8 on my list. But you know what? I couldn't really decide. Exit Stage Left is a fantastic live album by Rush, and Show of Hands. I mean, they just proved that they could play that stuff live or in studio and whatever. I was so stunned and amazed watching Rush play for the first time. And Geddy Lee with Moog pedals, lights, playing melody on a keyboard with one hand, and then playing bass and singing all at the same time. It was insanity. And speaking of insanity, here's number 7. Led Zeppelin Song Remains the Same. And this is actually I was so glad that they did this because I knew that the original release wasn't the full show. There were 6 tracks missing. So this is the full show right here. Plus the movie itself was iconic. In fact, Mark Fields, 2 for the show with Kansas. I didn't have a Kansas, but I could keep pulling records, like I said. And so just moving through my top 10, Hendrix Band of Gypsies.
Yep.
Did you know that there was a second part of that?
Yep.
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah. This is like a part of another set, and it's got Hear My Train Coming, Foxy Lady, Stop, Voodoo Child, Stone Free, Easy Rider. You got to find a copy of this to go with a copy of that.
I had no idea that existed.
Yeah. So, and then here, we'll get to some metal because I think we're losing our metallic feeling here. Released in the East, and the thing I love about the Japanese copy, once again, it has all the tracks. There's a 7-inch inside here that has the other tracks that were missing off the original American release. So this was iconic. This was influential in how I listen to music and how I listen to live music, and it really got me into metal. I mean, that particular record. So that leaves
reissue. The reissue.
Go
The
ahead.
reissue of this one on CD has the tracks that were missing from the American version.
Right. So I've got 4 records left of my top 15.
Do it.
Oh, you want me to go ahead and do it?
Do it.
Okay, we've been blathering on about this thing. So here's Kiss. This is actually an import copy from Germany, and so yeah, we've said enough about that. Yeah. I could listen to this. I listen to this album once a month, but I listen to Bridge of Sighs. Even Gary, we got BOC love. On Your Feet or On Your Knees, it's the Blue Oyster Cult. But Robin Trower live, this is one of the to me another iconic record, and I could listen to this thing day and night on a loop. And they start off with my favorite song, Two Rolling Stoned. Okay, here's number 2. I know it's not going to be a shocker, and no, it's not King's X live in Dallas. It's Deep Purple, made in Japan. This is actually I have a Japanese copy, but this is a copy from Argentina that I bought from a guy in Amsterdam. So how about that for going around the world to get just something that's great. But this thing, it is a solid, well-crafted, technically great. It's excerpts from different shows. I actually have a Japanese CD release that has 6 CDs, and it's all the shows that they parceled these from. This is a legendary, as Mark Field says, this album is legendary and bad production value. Okay, here's my top live album ever for now today. And Rob, just go ahead and end the show before I show it.
Oh, good grief.
Osric Tentacles live under Slunky. And Scott, yes, I am looking like a mad dog to find you this. They're about to reissue this.
Start putting stuff away.
They're going to reissue this on 180 gram, and it's going to come with a second disc with some added tracks.
Right on.
But this is, I heard this playing in a record store, and he didn't have. This is my old story about how I discovered Osric Tentacles, so I had to put it as number 1 because my taste has evolved, and but all those things that we have talked about what influences us. But this thing is pretty astounding, and all I say is try it out, man. Don't knock it till you try it. And Osric Tentacles live under Slunky is phenomenal. So there, how about that? And yes, I could name a million other records because I have a million other records to name. That's a great record. And see, once again, when you limit it to so few, we could talk for days about this stuff.
I still have a pile here, so
that's a great one too. Live Evil.
All right, let's throw the controls to Scooter Waters right now. Here we go in 3, 2, and
Saxon, the Eagle has landed live. This is new wave British heavy metal perfection right here. Again, this is the 80s, but still, they captured an energy that they couldn't quite capture on those early albums. And the set list is just fantastic. The crowd is insane. Sometimes the crowd adds something to the sound as well. You get that energy that the band's feeding off of, and then the crowd is feeding off the band. Something, if you ever played in a band, you probably understand. But regardless, Saxon, Legal has landed. Sticking with the new wave of British heavy metal. Live at the Inferno. They often say that a live album is the end of an era for a band. That's certainly the case with Raven. They had released 3 full-length albums before this and several singles. This was the culmination of all that before they signed with Atlantic Records, who pushed them in a direction that nobody liked. But regardless, those guys are still around, still kicking butt, and they came back with a vengeance with the Mad EP and have been releasing great music ever since. Raven live at the Inferno, culmination of first 3 albums before signing to Atlantic. Yep, I already talked about this one. Deep Purple, made in Japan. This, again, all these I have on CD and vinyl. So I could have gone with the Made in Europe too from Deep Purple. That's also a great album. So I can't believe nobody said this classic yet.
Once again, Scott, we could talk forever and ever and ever. And
I know. Live at Hammersmith, Motorhead. I mean, this is an album I played more times than I can tell you ever since I was a kid. I mean, the intro to We Are the Road Crew is just one of the most classic in-between banters ever. And then this one's for Damien Hair Metal, because I did pull out Ace Frehley. He said live plus one. This is basically live plus one plus more. This is his greatest hits live, but it's got all those songs on there as well.
Yeah, love that one.
Greatest hits live. There's a couple studio tracks shoved on the end from the was it from the live plus one? It was from one of the EPs, but regardless, a lot of Kiss on here, a lot of stuff from his '78 solo album, and then some of the stuff from the first two albums as well. I've just always been a huge Frehley's Comet fan and a huge Ace Frehley fan. He's like the one guy I would love to meet, just for, even if it's just for the second, to shake his hand and ask him for an autograph. So 2 more to go. And these are 2, if I did my top 5 albums, these 2 would probably be in the top 3 to 4. Thin Lizzy, Live and Dangerous.
I had it in my hand yesterday.
Again, they say live albums were an end of an era. I believe that was the case with Thin Lizzy as well. They never quite could get the popularity that they had right here. It was a downward swing after this, unfortunately for them, even though I think all their music was brilliant. Yeah, this just, again, it captured an energy and a heaviness that they couldn't quite capture in the studio. And then I remember buying this as a kid, and the pictures in this thing, of course, I pulled the CD to have hardly have any of them, but it had all those pictures, man, and it was just like the Kiss album. You just stared at it forever while you were, playing the album, wishing you were there. And I actually had this album one day, and I took it out and showed my mom the picture of Scott Gorham, and I said, "Hey," I want to do my hair grow my hair just like this. And she looked at me. She said, "When you're 18 and move out of my house, you grow your hair just like that." So when I turned 18 and moved out of her house, guess what I did?
You grew your hair just like Scott Gorham.
I sure did. And then the last one, this is just one of the greatest live albums of all times, in my opinion. This is actually the box set, but
Yep.
Oh, Strangers in the Night.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, Gary had mentioned Triumph Stages. That's another one I sort of slipped under the radar. And he also asked me, since he's an Osric virgin, where should he start? Well, Gary, you should start with Waterfall Cities, or you should start with The Floor Is Too Far Away, or even the Ed Wynn, that's WYNNE, Ed Wynn. He has a solo album out that's really awesome, but you can just about start anywhere. Strangitude, Pungent Effulgent, Tantric Obstacles, but start with Waterfall Cities or The Floor Is Too Far Away.
Scott, I think I'm going to remove John from the stream. What do you think?
Hey, Scott loves Osric Tentacles.
No,
I guess I do,
man. It's just 3 dudes sitting in a bar talking about music. Anything
hey, you
goes.
know what? I don't think we've said enough about that Ozzy Speak of the Devil either.
Or
that thing, or the tribute thing. Now, Speak of the Devil it's kind of a mixed bag, because I bought the album, and the album was phenomenal. And so I thought, I saw the DVD for sale, and I thought, I want to see this live, and it's completely different.
Andrew Atwood is a comedy sniper, and I'm going to prove it right now.
Andrew, I think you should get a haircut.
A live box set?
Just like this one, Big Daddy.
I think Andrew needs a haircut, but he's a heck of a guitar player. Andrew is a shredding bleeper. He is a great guitar player.
Monster.
You're welcome, Gary.
Monster on guitar.
I wouldn't steer you wrong. Enjoy. Hit me up for more recommendations.
All right, boys.
What up, man?
That's it. I showed all the ones I had.
I showed all the ones, and I can pull more. You want me to give me like 3 minutes? I'll pull some more.
Yep, I could do the same.
So maybe we do the bootleg thing another time.
That's what we in the beginning. Don't kick me out. No. It's all good. We'll never kick you out. Your opinions are important.
Papa Wayne with the sniper shot from the tower.
Andrew, we speak truth in here. Damn it. You're a badass, and we all know it. Except I saw you stage dive like a girl one time. We won't talk about that.
Was he wearing a dress?
No.
Nobody Zoomed was the other night at
Next
the
time I see him,
Amplified Live.
Andrew, next time I see you, I will reenact your stage dive move from Hell's Heroes 2 as I was standing side stage watching the greatness. I tell you what, when you're standing side stage watching Andrew and Larry Berrigan fight each other on guitar,
It's that's a battle royal
that
right
is
there.
a battle royale. Absolutely.
That's a ladder match with the briefcase hanging over the ring.
Stage dive. Yes, it was.
Anyway, BOC, sorry about that. Extraterrestrial live, and I really like On Your Feet or On Your Knees. Those are both great. And once again, I just stopped pulling because, well, I started.
Yeah, we try to keep it at 15 minutes. I mean, 15.
I mean, maybe we should just go upstairs with a mobile camera and just say, okay, here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this, and it's just easier than stacking them up on the desk. But oh well. And I love the Saxon ideas. The Eagle have landed. All those Eagle have landed live albums are killer.
Oh yeah, they're all great.
Yeah. So anyway.
So what has two thumbs and learned how to produce via StreamYard about 57 minutes ago?
Man, I gave you a shout out. That's freaking awesome.
What was your question, Fraser? We're going to do it right now. Hang on. What was Fraser's question?
Mark Field says Razor's live Osaka. Yeah, that thing ripped.
That's great. Yeah.
Anyway, Fraser's question. The Shredders.
I'm looking. Ask it again, Fraser.
Dead air.
Production value.
I've got a million things coming at me at once here. Sorry.
Yeah. What about AC/DC?
Oh,
yes.
Oh, here we go.
Like Thunderstruck Live.
What band would you like to record live?
Hey, we did that. Aska.
Yeah, we did.
Can we give a
Aska news, but I don't know if I can share it or not.
Well, I wonder if
I'm not going to share it.
I'd love for people to hear that. That actually turned out really good. Live
Donnell,
in my living
I
room.
don't think Donnell, we talked about that. I can't remember if I ordered that book or not, but it's dark in here and I can't see it. I can't remember, dude. Can't remember.
Dead air.
Yeah,
Roger
we're
Waters'
losing steam
wall.
here.
hey. Oh yeah. Destruction. You know that Sodom Live in Bangkok is a ripper too.
Mm-hmm.
Some love to that to the German thrash scene. Tankard has a live DVD out that's really, really killer.
Whose live album was really disappointing to me was the Nuclear Assault live at the Hammersmith.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about that one. It just didn't connect.
Lack of energy.
We've had our first Bare Naked Ladies mention on the Metal Roundtable.
Oh my
It took
gosh.
112 episodes to get here.
Yeah.
Here we are.
And he's the same guy that mentioned Roger Waters' The Wall live in Berlin, which
is fantastic.
Frost your pumpkin over there, Mr. Rob.
Oh my God, I love that.
But anyway, Triumph Stages.
Andrew, if you're still watching, check this out.
What?
Boys, I think that's about it for me. You guys got anything before we head out? Now you're not gonna hear the exit music today because I don't know what I'm doing yet. You're not gonna see the ending credits today because I don't know what I'm doing. But I will try to get that squared away before next week, or maybe Monkey Butt won't be out of pocket and he can guide me through like the Jedi that he is. So anyway, that's it for me, boys. Y'all got any parting shots?
Nope, man. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for your technical prowess there, man. That bailed us out of a jam. I was really excited. I was really excited to do this last week, and we had a little some issues, and people weren't available, et cetera, et cetera. But man, I've been, as the Blue Oyster Cult folks would say, burning for you and trying to get my opinion out on this thing because I love live records. And some people don't like them for whatever reason, maybe because they don't sound perfect like the studio things. But to me, and like I remember someone mentioning about Death live in LA, and the Obituary Dead live album, man, those are, see, the part of what I love about metal is either you can or you can't. And it doesn't matter if it's in the studio, because if you can pull off what you're doing in the studio, like Scott said, the thrash albums like Overkill sounds just like their aggression in the studio almost. But the fact that they can do it without overdubs and click tracks and all that other stuff is pretty amazing. That's what I love about them. And right before the whole world went to crap in a handbasket, we saw Overkill and Exhorter, and we're just still shaking our head going, how in the world do those old geezers do that?
That's the same thing I thought about with Raven. They were a ball of energy on stage, and they're still doing it.
Yeah. And they're just that good at what they're doing. So
yep.
Live or studio, I don't care. As long as you can rip, let's hear it. But anyway.
Yeah, agreed. Well, I want to share a couple things before we sign off. You can follow me on Instagram at IamMetalRob. You can follow Carcass John on Instagram at CarcassJohnArt. You can also follow Scott Waters on his YouTube channel by simply searching Scott Waters. We want you to like us. We want you to share us. We want you to tell your buddies about us. If you can't watch us live, watch us later. And if you don't want to look at our ugly mugs, pull us up on the YouTube app and just listen in your car like a podcast. We would love that. So that's about it, boys.
Yep.
Like I said, no outro music today. I'm very sorry about that. I'll get my shit together before next week.
Well, so what do we were still going to say it, right? Just still,
of course.
Oh yeah, of course.
Our little exit strategy here.
So until next time, metal
will prevail.
Dun 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 dun.